The plane lands at a military base in the United States. The door opens. Doctors step inside. A young man is carried out on a stretcher. He doesn't respond to voices or light. It's hard to believe that just a year earlier, he was buying a tourist package. But that was only part of the truth. 2016. A 21-year-old American named Otto Warmbier decides to travel to a place most people would never visit voluntarily. North Korea. An official tour. An approved itinerary. Constant supervision. Trips like this have existed in North Korea for years. They're advertised as a safe way to see a closed country. But safety was understood very differently here. And Otto didn't know that yet. Tourists move only as a group. Independent walks are forbidden. Not everything can be photographed. Not every question can be asked. The guides smile, but they are always nearby. The rules seem simple, but that's exactly where the trap was. Otto checks into the Yanggakdo Hotel in Pyongyang. This is where almost all foreign visitors stay. The building stands on an island, essentially an isolated space. Few people stop to wonder why this is the case. But later, this detail becomes important. One night, something happens that the authorities later describe as a crime. Otto is accused of attempting to take a propaganda poster. Security footage shows a person believed to be Otto inside a restricted area of the hotel. But this is where the inconsistencies begin, and where debates continue to this day. From a tourist's perspective, it might look like a minor incident. From the perspective of the North Korean system, it is interpreted very differently. The gap between these two views becomes decisive. Otto is detained. Some time later, he is brought to a public press conference, in front of cameras, in front of journalists. He reads a confession. His voice is steady. His words are precise. The phrases sound rehearsed. Many people later noticed, not what he said, but how he said it. He states that he acted on instructions, that he intended to harm the state. The wording sounds unusual, especially for an ordinary college student. But the most important part of that confession is not what he said, it's what he didn't say. The trial is swift.
No lengthy proceedings.
The sentence, 15 years of hard labor. For a 21-year-old tourist, it sounds almost unreal. And this is where the story enters. A phase of complete uncertainty. After the trial,
Otto disappears.
No photos, no video, no updates on his condition. A month passes, then another, then nearly a year. And the longer the silence lasts, the more unsettling it becomes. Neither American diplomats nor international organizations receive clear answers. Official statements are vague. Details are absent. Responses are constantly delayed. And that, in itself, raises concern. Then, an unexpected decision. In 2017, North Korea agrees to return Otto to the United States.
No explanation.
No press releases. No details. At that moment, many realize something has gone very wrong. The plane lands, but this return doesn't look like a release. Otto is brought home in critical condition. He doesn't regain consciousness. Doctors confirm severe brain damage. He doesn't respond. He doesn't speak. He doesn't open his eyes. And here the hardest question of the entire story emerges. What happened during those months? That was never fully explained. Days pass. His condition doesn't change. He never wakes up. The story ends without a complete explanation, without a final answer, without closure. After that, attention shifts from one individual to the system itself. People begin to reconsider the idea of traveling to places like this, because one thing becomes clear. In a closed regime, a tourist is not a guest. He is entirely dependent on rules that can change at any moment. A trip that began as an exotic adventure became a story, still discussed today, not because of a single action, and not because of a single accusation, but because of how quickly an ordinary person can find himself in a situation where familiar logic no longer applies. When planning a trip, We usually think about new places and experiences, but this story is a reminder. Sometimes the most important thing is understanding the conditions in which any step can have consequences that cannot be undone.